Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Denver, Colorado, it's time for Franchise Bible Coach Radio. Now, here are your hosts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Franchise Bible Coach Radio with Rick and Rob. I'm Rick Grossman, and I'll be your co-host today, along with my co-host, Rob Ganley, who I'll introduce in just a second. And he's going to introduce our special guest, Shelly. She is the Vice President of Operations with a cool franchise called Children's Lighthouse. And they are headquartered down in Fort Worth, Texas, with a bunch of units and growing. And we're going to have some exciting gold nuggets to share from Shelly. But before we get into that, I would like to just remind everybody that we are kind of at the tail end of what we call our Fight for Your Franchise Challenge. And that has been a 3-month initiative for us to help franchisors and franchisees kind of get through this time. And we kind of saw the writing on the wall that a few months ago that it was going to be a bit of a challenge ahead. So we started bringing together resources and video coaching and articles and also bringing together franchisors and franchise owners that were innovating and creating new ideas and new ways to get through this time and sharing it with everybody through our Facebook community and through our articles and things, so that we as an industry globally could move forward and not only survive but thrive. And so thank you to everybody that's participated. Thank you to everybody that has taken on the challenge and made it part of their business. Very, very excited to say that we've had lots of stories of folks coming through this and sharing their successes. So very, very happy to see that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to tell you more about some of our upcoming events and upcoming options. And I've been getting a lot of questions lately about where do we go from here? Now that the Fight for Your Franchise Challenge is over, where do we go from here, and what kind of things can we do to stay connected with you? So we do have some really great options for you coming up here in just a few minutes. But with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Rob, my co-host, and he can introduce our guest and get right into the questions here. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rick. It's good to be here. And Shelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. So it's great to be here. Before we dive in, I just want to quickly thank our sponsors. First sponsor, SEO Samba. They're the creator of a one-of-a-kind, award-winning marketing automation platform. It's called the Franchise Marketing Operating System. And you can learn more about that at SEOSamba.com. And of course, as Rick mentioned and we'll mention later, Franchise Bible Coach in the Fight for Your Franchise Challenge and Entrepreneur Magazine and Publishing. I'd like to thank them as well for supporting us.
Yes.
So with that said, welcome, Shelly Pair. And could you share a little bit about your background with Children's Lighthouse and a little bit about the brand and who you serve?
Absolutely. So I'm Vice President of Operations. I joined the Children's Lighthouse team in April of 2019. I have 26 years experience in operations and early education and franchising. And so I'm excited to be with the Children's Lighthouse. Our missions are definitely aligned. Children's Lighthouse started in 1995 in Fort Worth, and it's a values-based curriculum, and our mission is to connect families together to enrich communities through relationship-based safety and trust. And it's just a really exciting time for us. We have 52 locations that are open, and we have about 30 in development. We're currently in 8 states, and we should be opening COVID prohibiting maybe 2 additional states this year. So we will be in 10 states, and we have a couple new states that we want to join next year as well. So it's a very exciting time for us.
That's great. That's, I mean, you know, every time we interview, we love to hear that growth and that momentum still resounding from folks like you. But tell us a little bit more about how you serve the kids and a little bit about the concept.
Oh, absolutely. So we have 6 weeks to 12 years old. So we have a before and after school program as well as 6 weeks to age 5. And we develop brains, bodies, and best behaviors through our character value curriculum. And then we also have the stream approach for our school-age children. And we're, like I said, we're in 8 states going to be 10. So we really work with our franchisees with systems and best practices so that we can provide quality childcare for these children.
Wonderful. And can you tell us a little bit about the locations? Are they, where are they located, and what do they look and feel like?
Okay, so we are basically Houston and Fort Worth are our largest areas, and then we are also in Alabama, and we're opening a new school in Colorado, and then we have Florida. I have to think through my states here. We have Florida, North Carolina, California, Illinois. We have one school in Chicago, and then Kansas. And then we're opening in Colorado and Maryland and soon to be Virginia.
That's wonderful. We're located here in Colorado, so that's
Parker. Parker is our new one.
Not too far from us. It's kind of in between.
Yeah,
very good.
It's in between Rick and I right now, and very nice place, Parker. Nice place.
Yeah, awesome.
Wonderful. Could you do a walkthrough and make sure everything looks good? We should open in 1 month.
Okay, yeah, we'll swing down
drive
there.
By. We'll see what's going on.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, and it sounds like things are going well. You know, we've seen we've talked to a lot of franchisors in the last several months when we started the initiative, and have worked through that time. And we've heard really good news that we have kind of a unique situation here where people are more interested in owning their own businesses. People have equity in their homes. They have good credit. They're in good position. It's kind of a first in the industry timing for people to really jump into their own business. So it sounds like you guys are also bringing in some good interest at this level.
Yeah, we definitely are. And I think, I know COVID is a very difficult time, but, our whole, mission has been partnering with parents to develop children with, character values and physical wellness. And I think it just continues and is even more important right now that we are a values-based and a family-based program, especially during difficult times.
Oh, that's great. And that's what we need. And our children need that as well. That's wonderful. So as we talked, as we kind of opened up with at the beginning, Shelly, we talked about the fact that we're part of this initiative was to help people get through this time and get through this crisis. And when you look at your brand and what you faced as a brand, I assume you have all retail locations, right? All brick and mortar?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you have a brick and mortar model where you have people coming together. Tell us a little bit about how you and your executive team got together and innovated and adapted to get around the challenge that you were faced with when COVID broke out.
Absolutely. So I was looking back at our notes, and our first communication went out 17 weeks ago, February 28th. Wow. It's amazing that we're on week 17. But we came together and we implemented, if you will, the airplane theory. We were like, okay, we've got to operate from the strongest position possible in order to be the most helpful for our franchisees. So we started by pulling back to our day-to-day and saying, okay, we need to be available 24/7. We need to encourage our team to find the best resources available so we can get these out to the franchisees. As you know, in childcare, we're governed by several licensing entities. So you could imagine all the hoops that we needed to jump through in all 8 states that we're in right now. So we were going through all the state-specific childcare licensing rules that were changing daily, the health department updates, CDC guidelines, governor ordinance, then you had the county ordinance, and then all the resources that we could find available through the CARES Act, especially the PPP loan. So we called our franchisees every day. We were like, what's the status of the loan? What do you need help with? Do you need help with applications, resources? We had some great relationships with banks. We ended up getting 95% of our schools receiving the PPP loan. So we were very excited about that.
Yeah, good job. That's really high numbers. We've heard kind of a mixed bag, haven't we, Rob? But that's a great success ratio. And obviously your interaction and help with that was paramount. Yeah,
I really think it was, really just helping them navigate through through all of that and providing the resources and keeping on them, right? Supporting them, knowing that it was a very challenging time, just helping them, give them that strength and purpose and compassion to get that done. And then we were very lucky. We're an essential business and, truly honored to be able to support our frontline workers. And some of our states, it was only frontline workers. And then other states, we were able to continue our business, but maybe with less children, lower ratios. But as essential business, we just really wanted to keep the communication open and provide the resources that we had available. So we kind of looked at some simple steps in the beginning with what our decision making was going to be. We looked at the situation logically. We're like, okay, let's process the realities in this. Let's talk about some different scenarios. And then obviously we always lead with honesty, compassion, and availability. I think availability was the biggest thing that we wanted to make sure that we answered every phone call immediately, provided them with some direction and support. And sometimes they just needed to talk. It was a very stressful time, and some of them wanted to close their business. It was just too much, and they're like, we should just close. And we just really tried to help them understand that if you close, it's so much harder to reopen. And since there's no reason, nobody's saying that you have to close. Your state's not closing you because you're essential business. So we just really walked through some different scenarios with them and just, talked about the reality of closing. So we were very excited that we were able to keep every single location open. We did have a couple that closed for a couple, days to do some deep cleaning, but nobody permanently closed for a long period of time.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's a great achievement for those types of numbers as well. And, I always say this as a franchise Bible coach, and we serve as executive coaches and franchise coaches to franchisors and franchise owners all over the place. And as I often say, sometimes it's just that person in their corner that keeps them going. And it sounds like you were doing that from the corporate level there, that just be the voice of reason, be the lighthouse in the storm when they are
right.
like they want to give up.
Absolutely. And then we looked at everybody's financial position, right? So we knew that the numbers were going to drop. And so we immediately looked at our cash flow. We did an analysis, determine, okay, where are we going to be in 3 months? Where are we going to be in 6 months with our current cash flow? We scrutinized our budgets. We looked at different ways we could make some cuts. How can we make this cash last? Because obviously we didn't know at that time how long this was going to take. And then even our company owners, they decided that they were not going to take a draw. They wanted to keep as much cash on hand to support the franchise system. And then we decided as a company to cut royalty payments in half. So we've cut royalty payments 50% from March to current.
Wow. Sounds like you are in line with our servant leader model that we talk about in the book. So definitely sounds like you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Servant leadership is so very important, as you know, in our business. And we really try to have that open communication, that transparency with all of our franchisees. We sent out so much written communication, and we had several Zoom calls, and we learn a lot from each other. What's working for you? What can we do? How do we support each other? And then, as you know, in childcare, you can't be without toilet paper, soap, and hand sanitizer. And so working together to provide those resources, and we were shipping, hand sanitizer from Fort Worth to Chicago and going, okay, where can we get it? And, continuing to encourage creativity and just helping them develop that mindset. We're going to find a way to make this work, and we just have to be innovative and creative. But, we do that with our children in our school, so we need to do that as adults. And then we had happy hour Zoom calls on Fridays with our franchise team just to make sure that they were feeling supported. And, sometimes you just need to relax and not talk about business for 1 hour. And if you enjoy a beer or a glass of wine, that would be a good time to have that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Keep the engagement going and keep the spirits up.
Absolutely.
No, well, I mean, all that is right in line with what we hear from brands like yours, and that really, is the point of franchising, right? Is you're in business, right, but not by yourself, for yourself, but not by yourself.
Absolutely.
And so we love asking these we love to ask these questions because it really is all the things you mentioned is something that you had hoped you wouldn't have to experience something like this, but every benefit of being in a network, a franchise brand network, is sort of utilized in one of these moments, right? And
absolutely
you're pulling out all the stops. And with that said, is there something that you could point to, maybe an innovation, or even, it's sort of a two-way thing too, where the brand, the home office gets to learn from the network too, right? Because they're feeding back to you, and you're supporting them. And so is there anything that has kind of emerged out of these last few months as something new that you might actually say, I think we'll keep that process, or we'll keep that innovation, or just it was really interesting? Anything you could share like that kind of came about because of all this?
I think the over communicating, some of our owners told us we over communicated, which was nice to tell them, for them to tell us, don't call us every day. How about every other day, or we'll check in with you. Yeah. I think, having more of the virtual Zoom calls, right? Coming together, and, a lot of times we send a lot of memos and we talk to the franchisees all the time, but we don't bring them together other than conference once a year. And to bring them on a Zoom call and hear their perspectives on different issues, there was so much value in that. Even if you did that twice a year or quarterly, I thought that was, we really learned a lot from each other. And I felt that was really good. And they began to network more than being in, a lot of times, our Fort Worth group is together and our Houston group, right? We're kind of in these little silos, and it was nice to see them cross over and really support one another. So I think that's an area that we really learned, that we could do more, Zoom calls and virtual communication. We had great feedback from our virtual owners training and discovery days. I think sometimes people may not be able to travel. And I think you could do virtual discovery days. Not that it may not be ideal, but it's an option, and it went very well. And of course, we have director training for our managers and providing that virtual directors training. I think those are some areas with the technology these days that we should tap into. It doesn't always have to be in person. So I think that was really good. So, just a lot of great takeaways. I think, just having that consistent, open communication and transparency, and just really supporting them, knowing this too shall pass. Be resilient and innovative, and really encouraging change with them. There's different ways to get things done, and we're here to support you, and just trying to keep them positive, have that positive mindset, and we're in it together. We're going to get through this together, and that's what we're here for, to support you.
It's while you were sharing all that, I want to share a quote because it reminds me. So I Googled it because I've heard it, and I'm like, what is that quote again? And it's from Henry Ford. He's got a lot of good ones, but this one is a really good one because it sums up why franchising, right, works. And so his quote was, "Coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success." And
I love it.
That is exactly what you're talking about right here. And that's exactly what the franchise model affords us, right? And so anyway, I thought I'd share that. I like his quotes.
That's great. And I always think it's very important, whether it's our industry or other industries, to give back. And our schools are doing blood drives and food drives, especially right now. Blood drives are so important, as well as food drives, and, just really trying to give back to the community. We provided at-home learning and Facebook Live and interactive Zoom calls for the kids and families that aren't able to be in attendance right now. We just wanted to help them stay connected. So I think it's always a great reminder that we need to give back. We need to give back to our communities.
Exactly.
Well, that's a good point.
Great.
Very good point. And speaking of your community, it's a good segue to talk about the franchisees and the customers. And do you have any favorite stories of an interaction with a particular customer with one of the franchise owners, or anything that sticks out in your head as maybe innovation that took place?
I want to talk a little bit about Mother's Day. You know, we celebrate holidays, right?
Yeah.
Being in childcare. And we had some great thank yous from dads because some of the children weren't able to attend school during Mother's Day. And so we called all of the fathers and said, we know you don't want to be in the doghouse. So stop by the school. There's a basket outside with your handprint directions for your child so that you can give that to mom on Mother's Day because she expects that every single year. And so we did that for Mother's Day and we did that for Father's Day. We gave some food baskets and some fun Easter baskets on Easter. You know, just once again, just trying to connect and, you know, help our families feel supported and, you know, just a part of our Children's Lighthouse family.
It's great ideas. It's amazing how many holidays have gone by.
Right.
Since all of this has started, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like great ways to stand out. I call those promotions, and it gives you a little something different, something memorable for them to keep on their fridge or, you know, keep as part of their memories. And it shows that you went above and beyond. That's great. And the franchise owners love that too.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Yeah, and I was going to share that is super impactful. Like the opportunity to do those types of things over these last few months has obviously been there for everybody. But for the smart businesses, you took advantage because, you know, I could tell you as a father, I wouldn't have forgot that, right? And how many businesses are interacting that way, right? So that's what we were early on. Rick is, you know, as you know, he's the author of the Franchise Bible and a very, very smart guy, right? And one of the first things, you know, he kept talking about early on was that, you know, keep communicating, keep reaching out, stay in touch with your audience, right? Stay in touch with your customers. Don't give up, right? Don't just shut down and and go home,
exactly.
Right? Because whether revenue is being generated, you can still communicate and be there. And when this thing rebounds, those impacts will pay dividends. So that's great to hear that you did that.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Very good.
With that being said, I guess, you know, we're getting close to the end of our show and you've kind of already done this, but we like to sum up the show. We try to. There's always a lot of great information being shared, but is there one thing that you really feel like you've taken from this experience, even you personally, or something you would want to share with the audience, maybe someone considering a business, right? Or maybe someone that's a colleague, anything that you took from this experience that you wanted to share?
You know, I read a quote earlier today, and it was from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and it says, the businesses that will survive and thrive are the ones that can be flexible and adaptable to consumers' needs and evolving needs. And I think more than ever right now, we have to be so flexible and adaptable. And that's one thing that I have learned. You know, some of our franchisees, in some of our schools, we don't offer part-time care or drop-in schedules. And, you know, especially with essential business workers right now, the frontline workers, they need more flexible schedules and, you know, just being able to adapt to our consumers' needs, right? And being flexible and over communicating. This generation loves text. So, you know, we've been texting a lot out, checking in. So I think the two takeaways is absolutely consistent, open communication and being flexible and adaptable. It will help us stay in business and attract more customers.
Couldn't agree more.
Couldn't have said it better if I tried. That's wonderful. Makes a lot of sense. And we also know that one of the big takeaways that we'll be discussing in our initiative, we're kind of doing a wrap up of the initiative on Monday, and you're all welcome to join us, by the way, and I'll tell you more in a second. But we're going to be talking about where to go from here and next steps. And one of the big things that we've been hearing from just about everybody is that the customers need to feel safe and they need to trust your brand. And it sounds like you're doing all of those things, especially with our children. We need to feel safe and have that trust really high. So very good. Well, and I'm going to circle back to you guys one last time. I'm going to ask Rob if he has any final thoughts, and I'll do the same with you, Shelly, so you guys can think a little bit about any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners. But I'm going to tell you about a couple of exciting things. So we started this initiative about 3 months ago and decided to do something to give back to the franchisors and franchise owners around the world that may be facing struggles and challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we came up with the Fight for Your Franchise Challenge. We were blessed enough to partner with Entrepreneur Magazine and Entrepreneur.com to really get the word out. And they've helped us really grow this initiative, and we're very thankful for that, as well as our sponsors, SEO Samba, and of course, Franchise Bible Coach, which is our company. But all together, working alongside the franchisors and franchisees, we've really seen some amazing things happen. And I always say, if you ever want to get something done, just get an entrepreneur cornered and give them a challenge, and they'll find a way to make it work. And that sounds like you guys are right on track with that as well, Shelly. But so folks, we've had a lot of people ask us, well, if the initiative's ending, now what do we do? So for those of you that are interested, you can always stay a part of our Franchise Bible Coach Facebook community, and that's free, and you can just participate there and just go to our website and click on that, and you can join if you haven't already. Now that the initiative is kind of dovetailing out of the weekly emails and things, you'll see more content there and more interaction. For those that have interest in maybe getting a Franchise Bible Coach of their own, we do have some really affordable options now in a membership form. So franchisor membership, franchisee membership, we're offering an initial discount, lifetime discount to get started. And that way you can participate in monthly group coaching sessions. And then we also have my video coaching sessions that will go along with our franchise success plan. And so any franchisor and any franchise owner will benefit from just knowing what's going on in the industry, best practices, proprietary strategies, and all kinds of good things happening there, as well as participating in our franchisors or franchisees masters communities, which is an online community specifically for our members and coaches. And then we also have discounts on individual coaching and discounts on our specialty courses. So please have a look at franchisebiblecoach.com, and you can learn more about the memberships there or give us a call. And we also have coming up on Monday a live kind of wrapping up the initiative celebration and very special guests on a live entrepreneur webinar that we have with Nick Zamison, who's the founder of BioOne, and just a wonderful franchise that's growing gangbusters, and Best Option Restoration. So they have two brands. And so he'll be our guest for the franchisor. And then we have a very special guest named Steven Sitkowski, and he is a guru in the finance and investment field. So he's going to be talking to us about the future of business and the future of franchising. And we're very excited to have them on our live show on Monday, the 29th. And that's going to be at 1 o'clock Mountain Time and 3 o'clock Eastern. So the information and free registration is on our website there at franchisebiblecoach.com. So I'm going to end with that and go back to Rob and see if he has any final thoughts, and then we'll get over to Shelly as well, and then we'll wind it up. So what do you think, Rob?
Well, yeah, I enjoy all these interviews because it really reflects that how well businesses are run in the franchise industry, right? The response to these things, and Shelly, you kind of summed it up really well. I'm a technology guy. I have a technology and marketing background, and I couldn't stress enough the idea of being flexible as a business owner, as a human being.
Right.
Flexibility and expecting change and expecting to approach it with the right attitude and adapt. But that's exactly right, and it's good to hear. And that's about it. I mean, love to have one of those down here in Colorado Springs. So you'll have to go from Parker a little south, but we'd love to have one down this way. So
sounds perfect.
Yeah. But maybe you could share with the audience the best way they can learn about your business and the opportunity as well. Is there
absolutely? Yes, absolutely. childrenslighthouse.com is a website, and you can also message us on LinkedIn or Facebook. We would be happy to talk to you about a franchise opportunity.
Perfect.
And one thing I just wanted to remind everyone, because we forget as we take care of everyone else, make sure you take care of yourself. We need to make sure we're getting enough sleep and eating healthy and take that walk every day.
Wow.
There you go.
Very
Put
good.
your big mask or put your own mask on first before you.
Right. As Fort Worth just had our emergency news conference, we will be wearing masks till August 3rd.
Wow. All right. Well, we will do that. Well, thank you, Shelly, and very special thanks to you. And we'll also put your logo on our website on the Hall of Fame. The Wall of Fame.
Wonderful.
On franchisebiblecoach.com. And that you can click on that, folks, and it'll take you to their franchise information as well. So there's multiple ways to get a hold of the folks over at Children's Lighthouse, a wonderful franchise and something that's giving back and helping families, which is really important these days. So, and if you have any questions about any of these programs, just go to franchisebiblecoach.com. So, folks, that's going to do it for us for Franchise Bible Coach Radio Podcast with Rick and Rob. I'm Rick Grossman, and remember, as I always say, keep fighting the good fight. And I'll see you on the other side. Goodbye now.